Hello everybody, my name is Ali and welcome to my mobile game video. The task was to develop a mobile game for either iOS or Android using APIs and mobile specific features and publish it onto a publishing platform. In this video I will be going through the ideas of my game, the development process, the features implemented, and the future development plans of the game. But first, here is an unedited video of my game. The initial idea of the game was to create an obstacle dodging game where the player could move left or right as an endless runner type game. The enemies would spawn in waves going towards the player, and each wave spawned would count towards the score. The player would have 3 lives to get their high score. More lives could be bought with in-app purchases. The end goal would be to create a high score and attempt to beat it. A similar scoring concept to Flappy Bird. For the wave spawning, I wanted to make it look like a character was throwing the enemies at the player instead of making the enemies spawn randomly. As for the competition, there have been other games similar to this, such as Minion Rush, Temple Run, Subway Surfers, Tollman Run, and Run Forest Run, which have gotten over 10 million downloads, with one going as high as 1 billion. These games have similar concepts such as being an endless runner, collecting coins or points, dodging obstacles or objects, and having a high score. The thing that makes my game different and stand out compared to theirs is the unique use of API and phone features that I explored in the rapid prototyping stage and the development stage. I started rapid prototyping the base game by inserting standard 3D objects like spheres, cubes, cylinders, and capsules, and used them for my enemies. I used a spear ball as my player. I inserted a custom skybox from the asset store to make the sky look nice and added in a platform and walls with textures on them to create a game environment. After that, I added in lighting to make the scene bright. For animations, the enemies move towards the player and the player can move left and right to dodge. To move left or right, the player can either tap left or right on their screen or use their phone's gyro controls to tilt left or right. The UI is fully functional, with it counting score and lives alongside containing a pause menu where the player can set their audio volume, vibration level, and end the game if needed. Once the main game was prototyped, I started creating a basic main menu screen with settings and how to play instructions, and an end game screen that showed their high score and current score, and finally added background music for the different scenes. Once the prototype was finished, I started refining the features of the prototype to make the game look better. Added in better lighting to match the skybox moonlight. I added in textures for the walls and platform, improved the main menu and endgame scene, scaled the UI bigger to make it more readable, as that was one of the complaints of the prototype external testing. I added in notifications so that if the user goes away for 10 minutes, it sends the user a notification to come back and beat their high score. A secondary notification is sent out later when an hour or so has passed. I also added in a camera into the game so that users can take pictures and use those images as textures. An issue with this feature was that when testing in Unity or Unity Editor, the features worked well. However, when exported to phone and tested, the textures would get compressed and they would be a single solid color based on the type of image. I tried multiple things to fix it, such as scaling the resolution sample rate higher, changing the compression type, and reducing the compression. All of the options worked and changed things when playing in the editor, but when exported, it would always be the same no matter what. I ended up moving on to implementing other features. The way I was implementing the images onto the enemies was using an API called the Native Gallery, which can save and load images through the user's phone gallery. Another feature of this API was that it is used to set a profile picture at the end in the game over screen for a custom look. I also moved the UI around in the main game to make the pause button easily reachable. In total, I have implemented 4 mobile-specific features, which are gyro, vibration or haptic feedback, camera, and notifications. The gyro is used to control the player ball. The vibration is used when the player ball collides with enemies, when a scene is loaded, when the different vibration options are selected, and when a button is pressed. The camera is used to create new enemy textures and profile pictures. And finally, the notifications are used to notify the player twice at different intervals to come back and play the game. As for APIs, I used 5 different APIs, which is the Weather API, which gets the weather information using the player's phone location service and displays the current weather as particles in the game. The Native Gallery API, which gets used to save and load pictures from the phone gallery for the enemy textures and profile picture. The Notifications API to send notifications. The Advertisements API to show banner ads in the game. And finally, the Unity URP to improve the performance of the game through its lightweight pipeline system. The game has been uploaded to 2 different major platforms, namely Google Play Store and itch.io. The game was developed entirely using Unity Engine. The only difference between the Android version and iOS version of the application would be the notification settings, because the rest of the game is easily portable to both systems. There is code present that would make the game work if ported into iOS. In the future, I would like to implement in-app purchases alongside changing the assets to make them look better. Also implementing a character in the back throwing the enemies at the player. The reason it was not implemented was because of the performance hit it introduced even when optimizing. It is also the reason the enemies were not replaced by other models. I would like to add multiple levels and convert this from an endless type game to a time limit type game. For the genres of this game, it is a casual, single player, offline action and endless game. And for the target audience, it is aimed towards people aged 6 and above. The rating on the Play Store given to it by Google Play itself is PEGI 3. That is it for this video. Thanks for watching.